What is bribery? Bribery is offering, promising, giving, accepting, or soliciting something of value to influence a business decision or gain an improper advantage. It's a widespread problem that affects society, undermines trust and fairness, economy, distorts markets and increases costs, politics, corrupts decision-making processes, organizations, creates legal, financial, and reputational risks. Why can't we just rely on laws? While laws against bribery exist worldwide, they alone cannot solve the problem. Organizations need proactive systems to prevent bribery before it happens. This is where ISO 37001 comes in. Key principle to remember: no system can guarantee zero bribery. ISO 37001 helps organizations minimize the risk, but it cannot completely eliminate it. The goal is to create a reasonable and proportionate system based on your organization's specific risks. What does it cover? The standard focuses specifically on bribery, including direct bribery, your organization bribing someone else, or someone bribing your organization; indirect bribery, bribery through intermediaries or third parties; bribery by or of your employees and personnel, your business partners and associates. While ISO 37001 focuses on bribery, you can extend it to cover fraud, money laundering, or other issues if you choose. For organizations to establish, set up an anti-bribery system, implement, put controls into action, maintain, keep the system running effectively, review, check if it's working, improve, make it better over time. Who is it for? ISO 37001 applies to all types of organizations: public sector, government agencies, private sector, businesses, not-for-profit organizations, charities, NGOs, any size, small, medium, or large. Clause 4. Understanding your organization's context. Think of this as knowing your environment before building your house. What you need to do: 1. Look outside and inside external issues, laws, regulations, market conditions, cultural norms; internal issues, your structure, values, culture, resources. 2. Understand your stakeholders. Who cares about your anti-bribery efforts? Customers, investors, regulators, employees, communities. What do they expect from you? New in 2025, you must now consider whether climate change is relevant to your organization's context. Clause 5. Leadership, setting the tone from the top. Anti-bribery starts with leadership. If leaders don't care, nobody else will. Top management must approve the anti-bribery policy, ensure the policy aligns with business strategy, provide adequate resources, people, money, technology, communicate the importance of anti-bribery, exercise oversight and hold people accountable. New in 2025, Anti-Bribery Culture, 5.1.3. This is a major enhancement. Organizations must now develop, maintain and promote an anti-bribery culture at all levels. What does this mean in practice? Leaders must show active, visible, consistent, and sustained commitment. Create a common standard of behavior throughout the organization. Make anti-bribery part of how we do things here. Never tolerate behavior that compromises anti-bribery standards. Think of it this way: having rules in a book isn't enough. People need to believe in and live by those rules every day. The anti-bribery function. Every organization needs someone, or a team, responsible for the anti-bribery system. This is called the anti-bribery function, called anti-bribery compliance function in 2016. Their job: oversee the design and implementation of the system, monitor compliance, report to top management and the governing body, have authority and independence to do their job effectively. Clause 6. Planning. Once you understand your risks, Clause 4, and have leadership commitment, Clause 5, you need to plan. What to plan? 1. Address risks and opportunities. How will you tackle the bribery risks you identified? What controls will you put in place? 2. Set anti-bribery objectives. What do you want to achieve? Example: complete bribery training for 100% of employees by Q2. How will you measure success? 3. Plan for changes. New in 2025, when you need to change your anti-bribery system, do it in a structured, controlled way. Don't make changes hastily without thinking through the consequences. Clause 7. Support. Getting the foundation right. You need the right resources, people, and awareness to make your system work. 7.1 Resources. Provide what's needed. People, the anti-bribery function, investigators. Money, for training, technology, audits. Technology, systems to monitor transactions, report concerns. 7.2 Competence. Hire the right people, conduct background checks, due diligence, for high-risk positions. Ensure people have the skills and knowledge for their roles. Protect your people. Personnel must be protected if they refuse to participate in bribery, even if it means losing business. They should never suffer retaliation, discrimination, or punishment for refusing to engage in bribery, turning down activities they believe involve bribery risk. Reporting concerns. New in 2025, personnel must be made aware of the need to report conflicts of interest, situations where personal interests might influence business decisions. 7.3 Awareness and training. Everyone needs to know what bribery is, why it's wrong and illegal, your organization's anti-bribery policy, how to recognize red flags, how to report concerns. Training should be adequate, covers what people need to know. Appropriate, tailored to roles. Senior managers need different training than frontline staff. Regular, not just once, but ongoing. 7.4 Communication. Make sure information flows internally, between departments, up and down the hierarchy. Externally, to business partners, customers, suppliers when appropriate. 7.5 Documented information. Keep records. You need to document your policy and procedures, risk assessments, training records, due diligence results and investigation reports. Clause 8. Operation, putting controls into action. This is where the rubber meets the road. You implement specific controls to prevent and detect bribery. 8.1 Operational planning and control. Implement controls that are reasonable, appropriate for your size and resources, proportionate, match the level of risk. 8.2 Due diligence. What is due diligence? Checking people and organizations before you work with them or complete transactions. You need due diligence for a. Transactions. 8.2.1 Mergers and acquisitions. Major projects or investments. Anything that poses more than low bribery risk. B. Business associates. 8.2.2 Agents, intermediaries, contractors, suppliers, joint venture partners. Anyone acting on your behalf. Focus on those posing higher bribery risks. C. Personnel. 8.2.3 Background checks for positions with high bribery risk. Check before hiring, promoting, or transferring. What to check: reputation and integrity, past involvement in bribery or corruption. Ownership structure, who's behind the company. Qualifications, experience, and financial stability. 8.3 Financial and non-financial controls. Financial controls, accurate books and records. No off-the-books accounts. Require itemized expenses with receipts. Segregation of duties, one person doesn't control entire process. Regular audits. Non-financial controls, clear procedures and approval requirements. Procurement and tendering processes. Sales and marketing procedures. New in 2025, specific mention of mergers and acquisitions controls. 8.4 Implementing controls through others. If you control other organizations, subsidiaries, or work with business associates, ensure they implement adequate anti-bribery controls, include anti-bribery clauses in contracts. Monitor their compliance. Provide guidance and support. 8.5 Anti-bribery commitments. Get commitments in writing from business associates, higher risk ones. Personnel, acknowledge they understand the policy. These commitments should include agreement to comply with anti-bribery laws. No bribery on your behalf. Right to audit and terminate for non-compliance. 8.6 Gifts, hospitality, donations, and benefits. This is a common gray area. The rule: gifts and hospitality can be legitimate business courtesies, but they can also be disguised bribes. Your controls should define what's acceptable, amounts, types, occasions, require approval for anything above threshold. Keep a register of gifts and hospitality. Consider the context, timing, recipient, value. Apply to both giving and receiving. Red flags: unusually generous or frequent gifts. Gifts to government officials. Gifts around decision-making times, cash or cash equivalents and secret gifts. Special considerations: charitable donations could be used to channel bribes. Political contributions, high risk for improper influence. Sponsorships, ensure they're legitimate, not disguised payments. 8.7 Managing inadequacy of controls. If you discover your controls aren't working, document the issue. Assess the risk. Take immediate action to reduce risk. Implement corrective measures. 8.8 Raising concerns, whistleblowing. Create safe channels for people to report concerns, multiple ways to report, hotline, email, in person. Anonymous reporting option. Protection against retaliation. Investigation of all reports. Reference: the 2025 edition points to ISO 37002 for detailed guidance on whistleblowing. 8.9 Investigating and dealing with bribery. When bribery is suspected or detected, investigate promptly and thoroughly. Maintain objectivity and independence. Document the process and findings. Take appropriate action, disciplinary, legal, remedial. Learn from incidents to improve controls. Reference: the 2025 edition points to ISO 37008 for guidance on internal investigations. Clause 9. Performance evaluation. Are we effective? Don't just set up your system and forget it. You need to check if it's working. 9.1 Monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation. Track your performance, what to monitor, training completion rates. Number of concerns reported. Due diligence completion. Gifts and hospitality register and policy violations. How to measure key performance indicators, KPIs. Metrics and statistics and regular reports. 9.2 Internal audit. Conduct regular internal audits, check if you're following your procedures. Verify if controls are effective. Ensure auditors are objective and impartial. Document findings and recommendations. 9.3 Management review. Top management, and governing body if applicable, must review the system periodically. Review inputs should include changes in internal/external context. Performance against objectives. Audit results. Incidents and investigations. Concerns raised and lessons learned. Review outputs should cover: is the system still suitable and adequate? What improvements are needed? And resource allocation decisions. Clause 10. Improvement, getting better over time. An effective anti-bribery system never stands still. 10.1 Continual improvement. Always look for ways to enhance your system, learn from incidents and near misses, stay updated on emerging risks, incorporate best practices and respond to feedback. 10.2 Nonconformity and corrective action. When things go wrong or you find gaps, react promptly, investigate the root cause, not just the symptom, take corrective action, evaluate if similar issues exist elsewhere, update your system to prevent recurrence. What's new in ISO 37001 2025? Major enhancements. 1. Anti-bribery culture. Clause 5.1.3. Explicit requirement to develop and promote culture. Recognition that culture is critical to success. Leaders must demonstrate visible, consistent commitment. 2. Climate change consideration. Clause 4.1. Must consider if climate change is a relevant issue. Reflects integration of ESG, environmental, social, governance, factors. 3. Terminology updates. Anti-bribery compliance function to anti-bribery function. Updated definitions aligned with other ISO standards. 4. Planning of changes. Clause 6.3. New requirement for structured approach to system changes. 5. Enhanced conflict of interest guidance. More detailed examples in Annex A and annual review recommendations. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop a comment if you have questions, I'm happy to help explain more. And check out our other videos.